I want to be an agency of like 20 people by the end of next year. For me, I want to just be able to help as many small to medium businesses as possible. If you're a small business that's kind of got someone there, don't be afraid to invest some more money into improving your marketing. The thing I've always gotten frustrated with is, out of all of the different marketing channels, social and digital is the most straightforward, and genuinely helping people makes my whole life so cool. And then being able to pay myself at the end of it, that's awesome. What more can you ask for, you know?
For a lot of small business owners, digital marketing can feel like a minefield, confusing, expensive, and hard to know if it's actually working. My next guest has made it his mission to cut through all of that. Josh Burgester is the founder and managing director of Bergs Digital, a Auckland-based agency that helps small businesses show up online with honesty, strategy, and results you can actually measure. Josh, great to have you with us today.
Mate, it is a pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Tell us a little bit about your journey with Bergs Digital. You came out of corporate life. What was the process, the transition from corporate life to business, working for yourself, and what did you see in the market that you could do better with your company?
Where do I start? So, I was 5 years old.
No, I haven't got time for that.
Yeah. The landscape at the time, when would that have been? That would have been, I want to say, it was about 2024 was actually when I went in full-time left.
So not that long ago.
No, the business has only just turned 2 now, which is crazy to even say that. But when I was in that headspace, corporate at that time was starting to kind of feel capped for me. And to be honest, that part of my journey was very much to do with myself. You know, like I was trying to progress my career. It was leading to a bit of this area where I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting out of this anymore. Where is my career heading? And I had brought a lot of innovation to the business that I was working in at the time and the previous business before that. And both of those things were related to social media. I didn't really connect the dots at the time. It was just saw an opportunity. My job was to grow the business in both businesses I worked in. So sweet, ad revenue, this is how I'm going to do it, you know, untapped market potential. And that involved, actually at its core, websites. That was actually the secret, and where it all started was this whole concept of websites are one of the best tools for businesses to sell their product, and especially if they're trying to grow and increase their revenue, you have to kind of direct them and do that digitally through a website. So I did a bit of time in the previous job before that one where I really dug deep into things like marketing pixels. We call it the customer journey, you know, when someone's on a website and how they choose to purchase. And there's all this really crazy stuff like site mapping now where you can see like where people's attention are. It's crazy. So I nerded out on that for a bit, and I never was someone that loved designing websites or anything, but then got my head around the concept of a website, and then I was like, but how do you get people to the website? Because that's the secret to the growth, right? If you can create this digital platform, if you like, where people can easily book and easily find out everything they need to know about you, that's great, but they still got to know to go there. And that's where this whole concept of marketing kind of like came in for me. And I didn't actually kind of start with this bigger, wider concept of marketing. I was very much like performance and focused, and I want to bring as many people to the website as possible. Therefore, the best ROI for that at the time was Facebook and Instagram marketing. That was 100%. And then Google ads as well, depending on what you were. And so once I kind of drank the digital marketing Kool-Aid a little bit, my mind was absolutely blown, and I kind of started seeing the stats and seeing what it was doing. I still remember to this day, have you ever watched that documentary, The Social Dilemma?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I watched that, and that was like the
Aha moment
changing
kind of
moment
thing.
for me. Yeah. And I think a lot of people probably watched that and then, threw their phones in the ocean and like went on a digital detox. I actually am like real toxic. I did the opposite. I was like double down. Like, I know, because the point of the documentary was like 100% that they had some really good points around safety and all these things, and like all of that stuff. That's out of my control.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff that was in that documentary, I can't actually affect that. I can choose to make good decisions myself, but I can't actively affect what's happening there. What it did show was a societal shift, and psychologically the human race was changing like at a mass scale. And so I wasn't silly. Like, I didn't mess around. Like, I doubled down on that, and I instantly was like, okay, cool. How does this attention economy works? There's this thing called the attention economy, and that's actually a lot of like the core of where my belief system kind of revolves around. And I can break that down for you a little bit later if you want, but that was the crux of it. Sussed out what the attention economy was, and then understood, okay, cool, if I can get people's attention, then I can get them to click on this ad, then I can get them to the website, then I can make a sale. Like, there's each part of the journey, and if you're good enough at marketing, because this is where it's really important not to be a specialist, and I'm not a specialist, I'm a strategist. Like, I know how to take a campaign through from start to finish in terms of creative concept into revenue generated at the end. There's not very many strategists, like a lot of people are specialists, but you need a strategist to be able to go, cool, if I was this person, as in the target audience of whatever business me and my team might be working for, I need to be able to put myself in the shoes of that person and go, what would make me click on this ad, and then what would make me buy off this website, and then be a repeat customer.
So how did you take that aha moment from just an idea kind of thing as to what you would like to achieve into an actual fully fledged business?
It was actually quite an easy transition, because the thing for me at the time, again, I was a business development manager. I was for a pretty big real estate marketing company called Blade Scenes. And me and the CEO of that company, we're still like really good friends. We talk all the time, share opinions on things, and he always like gave me credit for being smart. He's like, you're onto it, Josh. Like, you've got something here, like ahead of the curve is what we said. And I basically changed a lot of what was going on in that business at the time to pivot towards this. And so I was a very probably unique early business owner that got to market test my products in the business I was working in before I actually went out. And that wasn't even a bad blood situation by me and the CEO. We sat down one day, and the business was just heading in a different direction for him. And I said, hey, like, I've been thinking like I might do this, which is different to what they do anyway. And he was like, go for it. Like, you're the best person at this thing that I know. Like, and to this day, he still recommends, if anyone asks him, like, he still recommends me. So that's really cool. And that's the easiest way to sum it up, is that I, for a big scale company, innovated their products towards social media and released certain forms of content packages and forms of digital marketing, like advertising packages, that I released to their customer base, and we grew the revenue through that. Seeing that, and like the global market trend showed me that there was a gap in the market, and here we are.
So what does that actual market look like? What do you guys do at Burge Digital?
So we're a full-fledged social agency, but more recently we've grown into kind of the full stack offering, because that was always my dream of, once this all started as a social thing, and then it kind of became a content thing, and then it became a full stack marketing solution thing. That happened very fast, as you can tell from a 2-year time span. I'm not someone that sits and just continues to offer the same product, even though it might be profitable, because that's where I think the industry itself, and honestly, let's be honest, any industry, right? You're a business owner and you're starting to print money. Don't fix what's not broken, right? That's the general rule. The problem is that I've got ADHD, so I I always have to have the new shiny thing. And I was very early on what we call GEO, for example. Have you heard of that before?
No.
So it's Generative Engine Optimization.
Okay.
And that basically means anything from recommendations on Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT.
Yep.
How often do you use?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's your preferred platform?
I use Claude quite often.
Same.
I find it really useful
Yep.
for the type of work that I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Have you noticed that any of your normal daily decisions, have you started going over to Claude for that?
Yeah, definitely. I started out with ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and then I kind of migrated to Claude, and I'm finding that a better fit for what I'm looking for.
So how crazy is it if you stop, and you wouldn't probably have done this yet, stop and think 12 months ago,
Yeah.
how often were you Googling stuff versus
Oh.
how often are you
It's crazy, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that is I've been putting all my business owners onto, and making sure all of the stuff that we're doing, we're now integrating that into like all of our strategies.
Yeah.
That's down into the content that we do for people.
Yeah.
So a silly reel that we make for people, we have a GEO strategy inside of the scripts and content that we're putting out for things, because we know that there's certain aspects that already get taken into account, i.e. if you upload your content to your website in the back end and then it's got those transcripts, that's pulling from there. There will be a point, it's even already starting to happen in certain places where they're actually pulling directly from social media as well. And so you have to be quite ahead of the curve in today's age.
How do you ensure, though, that you're getting that cut through kind of thing, where we're in like a content saturated market? People are putting up content all the time, a lot of it AI generated, because it's so much easier to produce content. How do you ensure as a business owner that you're actually getting cut through with the content that you're putting out there?
Yeah, you're asking a really good question, because this is definitely something a lot of people kind of suffer from when they're making a decision around whether they should do it, because it's quite easy to just get a little bit overwhelmed, isn't it? And just go like, you know what?
Screw it.
I'm not doing this. That's for the young kids, you know? And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell the 60-year-old business owner that's got like his epic database and he's cooking, he's happy with what he's doing. If he wants to do that and not use social and not do any of the modern stuff, that's sweet. Do that. Like, what I can promise you is probably year on year, you'll notice that your market share starts going down because people are taking advantage of this other stuff. And as long as your retirement plan is, legitimately, don't worry about it. Just finish right off into the sunset and then don't do any of this horrible stuff that we all have to do. But the reality is that anyone that's not that, you don't have a choice. It's going to happen with or without you. And if you care about your business and want your business to succeed, like, you need to do some, if not all, of it.
So when business owners come to you, what are some of the challenges that they are working with in terms of...
I don't want to be on camera.
And how do you get around that kind of thing? Because it is, like you say, people are set in their ways. If you've been a business owner for even 5, 10, 15 years kind of thing, it's hard to change the way you do business. How do you get people to change that mindset around social media?
How do you get anyone to change anything?
Yeah.
Give them a good experience.
Yeah.
It's all customer service. This is like, it's such a lazy take and lazy mentality around like, oh, I don't want to be on camera. That, like, 100%, I didn't want to be on camera either. This is like legitimately what I tell people. I was like, I didn't want to be on camera either. Look at me now. Like, it's the world, man. It changes. And to be honest, like, I am pretty straight up with people. There's certain things that you can work around. You can make it easy for people. But I think me and my team, we've done that whole, like, why do people like going to IKEA?
That's cool stuff, cheap.
It's cool. The experience is awesome. You walk out feeling happy, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I've tried to curate with Berks Digital, is that all of these, the skill gap and the knowledge gap of all the stuff that you want to do, we sort that for you. Just turn up, you do the best you can, and we're going to coach you along. Like, we help people with the scripting. We do all the scripting for you, and then we also help. Like, one of the key differences I think that's super important, and anyone can run their business the way they want, but I purposely slice the guts out of my profit because I send 2 people to every shoot, at least. Sometimes I come along as like the, special guest, but any given shoot, one of my shooters will be there, and I also have a director who is that person's account manager. So the relationship that they have with that person, that's all the trust is with that person. My main account manager, her name's Caitlin, and so she builds the relationship with the client. She learns their nuances. With content, people have their little nuances, things they like, things they don't like, what makes them comfortable. If you make someone comfortable and you make someone laugh and you make them look natural on camera, all of a sudden they like being on camera. It's this crazy revelation. It's not actually rocket science. It's actually just, if you give someone a good experience, they associate that with a positive thing, and then next time they're way better, and the time after that they're way better. And you can talk to any Bergs client. It's one of the things that I am like the most proud of we have churn like any business, right? People, money situations, things like that, they going in a different direction, we're going in a different direction, but every single client that I've ever worked with has said how crazy it is, they're like how much they've improved by coming and working with us. So we're giving them the service the whole time, but then they walk away with this amazing skill that they're now like quite confident on camera, and they present well.
And I'm glad you brought the money side of things up, because it is a tight market out there for a lot of business owners, and social media is considered one of the cheaper marketing options out there for business owners, especially when you're a small business owner.
Yep.
How do you get business owners to change their mindset around the spend that they are investing in social media, because that's your business kind of thing. You want to make money out of helping these people with social media. How do you convince people who are maybe spending minimal on social media to invest a lot more?
Yeah, well, David, the thing is, I've been doing this for about 4 years now, longer with 2 years with Bergs Digital, and then about 6 years total with convincing people about social media.
Yeah.
6 years ago, it was a lot harder.
Yeah.
People didn't believe you. But every year, people are coming to me and going, "Oh yeah, we need to do this now." So, I think 2025 was definitely a big shift in the nation. I don't work globally, right? So the nation's mindset on how we're approaching social media and what the ROI is. You still get those people, and I don't want to offend anyone here, because like obviously there is many different formats of marketing that work for different target audiences. The key thing that I say to everyone is, who is your target audience and where do they live, And yeah, so there's still business owners that are quite happy to pay tens of thousands of dollars for billboards or out-of-home campaigns or radio ads, and they have no idea what their ROI is, but then they don't want to spend $3,000 to $5,000 a month on social media marketing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the thing I've always gotten frustrated with is, out of all of the different marketing channels, social and digital is the most straightforward. There is reporting, there is lead capture, there are proper methods that you can use to track your ROI. It is not something that you have to go, oh yeah, like there were maybe this many viewers, and like we can assume based on some matrix cube rubric that it's not like that. You can actually kind of quantify a lot better than you can with other methods. Yeah. And I think that the key thing is doing content, that it's not about hiring some person to do your socials. Like that day's gone. Like there was, when I first started, there was a lot of just marketing communications grads that is just like a one-man band with an iPhone and they know how to post on social media. Like those days are kind of gone. They exist still, but the service that they can offer is very limited in terms of they only know what they know, and a lot of them come from what we call it the Canva era. Everything's about video now, short form, high attention grabbing stuff, and you've got a lot of people trying to pivot, right? And that's totally good. Like, that's exactly what I would do. So the thing is that when I go and pitch against someone that's a one-man band operation with an iPhone and their cool little rig or whatever, I'm bringing a full stack with me. You know, I can do websites, I can do GEO, I can do SEO, I can do your ads on the back of it, I can do your Google ads on the back of it. I can make sure that the reason why you're coming to me, you're going to get that outcome, which is grow your revenue or your market share. Business owners have various different goals, but ultimately it always comes down to money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They just want more money.
Yeah.
And that's where most people in my industry or in my chair go wrong. They fluff it up too much, or they go, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And my dad's been a business owner his whole life.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like. The bottom line
matters. Yeah, it does matter. And you do a bit of coaching and training as well through your services that you offer. For people who are showing up online on social media all the time, but they're just not getting that cut through, what are some of the mistakes that they're making that you see most common?
All the time. So you can be good on camera now, but still not be good. That's the thing that's really difficult about 2026.
Yeah. And is it all about video in 2026?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nothing.
If you're not doing video,
if you're taking product shots or selfies, you're not getting anything.
There's been some really good studies on that recently where I'm going to throw some stats out at you, which are, let's just say, Claude Asterix guesstimations. So don't quote me on it. But it is, just based on approximations to the best that we can do, because it's really hard to actually track this kind of data. This one's not an asterisk. The first one is 86% of New Zealand uses social media for 2 hours a day. When they're on social media, what are they watching?
Reels,
right? Because you don't really even choose that. Like, that's just kind of what your algorithm's serving you. So if 86% of people are on social media for 2 hours a day and most of what they're watching is Reels, we can assume that that's the most content that anyone's consuming on a daily basis, because it is. People are only watching Netflix on average for 1 hour a day at the moment. YouTube is like the outlier, which is like actually sneaky. Like, people don't realize how good YouTube is, but legitimately people watch YouTube more than they watch Netflix.
Yeah.
And YouTube, do you watch any YouTube content?
Well, I think they gear it towards, like, a lot of kids. Like, my kid watches YouTube a lot, and instead of watching a 30-minute Palui episode, they're cutting 7 episodes into 30 minutes, and they're like short, sharp, and quick kind of thing. And that's what keeps their attention. If you put him in front of a 30-minute video, he's not going to sit there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But when it's changing constantly, he is. And I assume that's the same that Instagram and Facebook do with their Reels kind of thing, where it's like constantly changing.
Yeah. And so the retention rate is kind of what you're referring to. So now that we've established and agree that short form is the most important thing, because that is what most people are watching out of anything, by the way. Any kind of consumption that is short form is the biggest amount of consumption that any people across the globe are consuming. And so from that, if we're understanding and agree on that, then you have to look at what makes a good reel. And when you start looking at retention stats and the important stuff, how many people are being hooked in, how many people actually watched, and what percentage of the video did they watch, the stats are horrifying, David. But it's important to know that. And if you just, this is a great way to kind of circle that round to, you can imagine from all of these deep psychological things that I'm talking about, if you don't have someone at the wheel of your marketing that's thinking on that level, you're just making content, aren't you?
And that is a challenge with a lot of small businesses, that they don't have that marketing team.
Yeah.
There is nobody running that all the time. It often comes down to the owner, or perhaps the owner's daughter, for instance, doing their social on the side.
Yep.
So, like, how do you get around that kind of thing where people don't have the budget and aren't necessarily willing to invest in it? What are you saying to them?
I think that it all comes down to your ROI, and that's what we've talked about before. And it's, anyone will say the same thing, right? what you have to be willing to do to be a successful business owner or successful entrepreneur is test and try. If you aren't testing and trying, you're failing your business. So in this modern world with all these new things available, if you're not testing and trying things, you don't even want to succeed, you know? And what we usually find is, for example, if like you're trying to work with our agency, we just have a 3-month minimum commitment. I don't sign people to these like 12 or 24 month ridiculous things. Yeah. I can retain a client myself, you know? The thing that we do is be like, hey, come and work with us for 3 months. If you don't like it, all good. And you'll walk away with a whole bunch of value. And we show them exactly what value they're getting out of it anyway. So either way, they're only committing to 3 months of trying something, and they're going to walk out with a positive experience either way if they're not financially like able to commit to that for a long term. But we basically never have people drop off, because by that point they're already starting to see what this is doing. And you would be shocked at the amount of businesses I've come into, and they're like, we kind of know we need to do this. They don't even understand the value themselves. Like, they just have been told by their cousin that, like, I'm half decent, call Josh, like, blah, blah, blah. And then they call me up and they're like, oh, yeah, we've been told to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'll get a call from them, like, the first month after that thing. Or even, like, 2 videos in. We posted 2 videos for them, which would be, like, their first week of things. And they call me up and they're like, Josh, this is crazy. Like, all these people are messaging us and saying, like, oh, wow, I really love your videos, they look so good, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, they just start noticing their business passively picking up, which is the coolest thing.
Take me a step back. So you've got a call from your cousin's friend kind of thing, and they say, Josh, I need help with my social media. Where do you start, kind of thing? Talk me through that process of onboarding a client. Maybe use an example of a client that you've had before, kind of thing, in terms of what can I expect when I come to your agency? Yeah.
So the first thing that we start with is what we call the doctor's meeting. So that's where I'll most of the time we do that as a Google Meet, or I'll call them up if need be. And I just ask the questions. What do you want? Like, what are you actually trying to achieve? Because I know how to cut through with people, and they don't want social media. No one ever wants social media. Like, they want something, which is what we were alluding to before. Is usually it's like, oh, I need to grow my market share by X, Y, Z, or I need to increase my revenue by and then that kind of puts me in a place where I can then understand what the right service is for them, and then we can grow it from there. Because the goal is never to introduce someone and then not grow them, because that's my business. Like, I want you to grow so you spend more money with me. Like, that's and I think that's why my business works so well, because it's designed to be a partner with businesses, not be a supplier. You know, the whole idea is, if I help you succeed, then you're going to spend more money with me because you want to succeed more. And as long as I keep succeeding for you, you'll keep spending money with me. It's a great partnership. And that's why I love it. Like, I love helping businesses, and it's the part of it for me, like a massive part of it's not anything to do with the money. Because you can hire Bergs Digital, for example, for less than a full-time employee. A lot of people think agency pricing is crazy, and it is, to be honest. Some are. Like, we can get into that if you want. It's a whole different podcast. But I think that was where I wanted to come in and change things. Like, I know a lot about what the previous agencies' models were like. So then you had this whole ecosphere of one-man bands and big agencies charging ludicrous retainers, and then one-man bands charging nothing, but they're also like don't really have the whole knowledge stack of why they're doing and what they're doing. And then so my biggest thing when I'm working with a client is sort of explaining that, like, that's where we fit in. Like, we're different. We actually have created this kind of new zone, and I'm not saying I'm the only one, because there's some other like really great people out there, and that we all started around a similar time, to be honest. Like, it was this whole gap in the market of like, what are these middle-sized agencies? Like, there's there's all these big dogs like BBDO and etc. And like I like love what they do, and I think that some of the big creative agencies, it's inspiring what they do, but their whole offering's different. And like, how are they helping small businesses? They're not, because they can't afford them.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing for me, is I realized there's this whole gap where the medium businesses can kind of afford the bigger agencies, but it's still like not really the right price bracket for them. So now all your small to medium businesses in New Zealand, there's 78,000 businesses in Auckland alone. And so that seems like a good business model. Why is no one helping them? Yeah. And all I do is I go in and I ask the question, like, who are you trying to sell to? Like, what's your point of difference?
Yeah.
Who are you? What problem do you solve? And why are you qualified to solve it? If you can answer those 3 questions, you will sell stuff to people.
And so you're showing up online now. What's the next step? Obviously, investing some money in terms of ad spend on social media, Google ads, social media ads. How do you know what's right for your business? How do you know how much you should be spending? What is the difference between that organic content versus paid content on social media? How much cut through are you getting with paid content versus great organic content?
Well, this is a great time to say that my webinar is coming up for $9.99. No, I won't do what every single other person in the industry is doing right now. The organic versus paid. Great question. So organic is about building your brand and about a long-term success and building that long-term trust. How many times have you bought from a brand or something that you didn't trust?
Not often.
Not often. Probably never. Unless you're in an emergency situation, like, I need this.
And then it doesn't
And then you're like, yeah. But it's not a good experience, is it? You know? And so trust is super, super important to a sale. And a lot of people forget that part. So you can run ads all you want. And people love this model at the moment because of and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything against these people because I grew up watching these people. Alex Hormozi, Sabri Subi, Gary Vee, blah, blah, blah. All of these people that are big on paid ads. I'm big on paid ads, but if you watch them properly, what are they doing on all of their own accounts? They're posting copious amounts of organic content to build trust. And so everyone is real obsessed with this idea of like, oh, cool, we're just going to make a paid ads marketing funnel, and then we're going to get an ROAS of return on ad spend of 10x, and then we're going to up it to 15x, and then we're going to spend $100,000 a month on ads, and we're going to be printing money. No, that doesn't work like that, because you need to build trust with people. And so if you just have this dead page, like say you just have this page on Instagram/Facebook, and you're just posting the odd static every now and then, if not, you've maybe posted like 3 months ago, and then you're running all these cool ads, and what do you think people do? My generation, right? I'm millennial, so what's that? Anyone from like 20 or 29, 30 through to 40 something?
Yeah.
That's a very lucrative audience of people, I'd imagine. Like, you want to make sure you're hitting that audience for pretty much any business.
Yeah.
Everyone in my generation, we're going to check you out.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we do. I don't even go to your website. I go to your Instagram first. Yeah. That's what I do. And I know that everyone, like, in my rough generation does that. Like, that's the first check, was like, I'm not even going to check your website out before I check your social media out. And if you haven't posted anything in like since December 2024, good luck. You ain't getting a purchase from me.
Yeah.
And so that's what I always say to business owners that are a little bit more like apprehensive on organic versus paid ads. And the only reason why I say a client shouldn't, buy organic off us is if you're capable of doing it yourself. Because organic is one of those things that can potentially be done by yourself. It's trainable, and it's especially if you use certain outsourced services. For example, if I taught you, which is kind of where the training and coaching part comes in. If I taught you how to record your own reels, but then the skill gap was too big on making the reels, you can just send me the reels and I can make you the reels.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out how to post them and stuff. We can give you a posting schedule. We can go one-off fee. We'll tell you how to do this for 3 months. And then after that, you can either come back to us and we'll give you a new strategy, or you can repeat that strategy or optimize it yourself. Organic either needs to be done by a good agency that knows the right way to do it, because there is a wrong way to do it, or you can be set up to do it yourself. But there's no option where you don't do it. Like, you have to do it. And I'm going to be straight up brutal because I think there'll be a lot of business owners that hopefully end up watching this or see a clip or something. But if you are just posting statics on your organic social media, I implore you to go and have a look at your engagement. And I'm going to be willing to bet that most of your posts have 2 to 3 likes on them, and one of them's your mum. And that's just straight up honest. Yeah. Because the amount of times I've said that in a presentation or thing, and then everyone in the room is like, yep. And then that's when it's a waste of time, David.
Yeah.
If you're putting in effort to making Canva posts and then putting this stuff up, I don't care if it's like 10 hours a week, you're wasting 10 hours a week. Don't do it.
Yeah.
That is literally the only scenario where I'll agree with just bin your social media, don't even post.
Yeah. And what about when it comes to showing up in real life as well, because that's an important element of business as well. So you can't only be posting the social reels and whatever and getting engagement from that. How do you translate that from showing up online to showing up in communities to be able to grow those communities?
That is such a good question, because this is actually one of those things that when I was alluding to before about the full marketing stack, that's something that we're working on heavily at the moment, and all the best agencies are sort of pivoting towards these in-person experience versions of marketing, because social is your best way to get a big message out there, but there's nothing quite better for trust than in person. And I think that doing regular stuff in your communities or hosting your own events, probably best to start with doing webinars, even though I made a joke about it before. But free webinars are great. I don't love paid webinars. I think paid webinars are a little bit like of a pyramid scheme. But the free webinar to showcase your information, amazing business strategy. And then if you start with that, then you build a bit of a database, then you can kind of like have a little bit more confidence to go and host maybe an in-person thing, and then like organize a couple of speakers. You guys are doing it later this year. You know?
And what about for, and it's a little bit different, but obviously LinkedIn is another channel as well, and showing up at events and then as a business owner posting that kind of content as your own personal brand relating to your business. How important is that, building your own brand as a business owner versus building your business brand and showing up in the community and then posting about it on LinkedIn, for instance, so that you're helping grow your network as a business owner that will hopefully help grow your channels?
So the best way I can summarize that for you, I'm going to quote the famous Simon Sinek: people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so by having that personal content and those like founder moments and, you know, showing up at events and networking and genuinely caring about what you do, that's going to sell, isn't it? Like that's going to resonate well with people, because you can't really fake that stuff. Like I'm sure when you're talking to me, you can tell I'm pretty passionate about what I'm talking about, right? And so you can't fake that. Like that's something that is, if you've got that, like if you've got a genuine passion for your business and what you do and what you think, like use that to your absolute advantage. Talk till the cows come home. Make people cringe about how obsessed you are with that subject, because when it comes time that they want to, them or someone they know wants that thing, they're going to go, oh, you need to talk to that guy. Like that's the person you need to talk to. And that's, in my opinion, we call it an SME, a subject matter expert. That's the ultimate goal. If you can achieve becoming an SME, like you're going to set yourself up for a lot of success, I reckon.
So you're an SME who owns an SME. What are some of the lessons that you've learnt on your business journey from being a subject matter expert to now owning your own business, having to juggle a lot of different things that come with owning a business? What have been some of the learnings that you've had over the past couple of years? Tough one.
Staff. Yeah, so
How big is your team?
we're 6, like
Yep.
full time, but
Yep.
it's 7 if you count the 2 other contractors. So yeah,
Yep.
6, 7.
Yeah.
The thing that I think was the biggest journey for me is when you're trying to do something yourself, I don't need to like take what's in my brain and put that onto a board or anything. I can execute myself, right? When you're trying to grow bigger than one person, it's really important that you learn that skill of communication and how this is my vision, this is what I want. And then it starts when you've got a smaller team of say 3, where I'm still working on every single client and just being like, cool, this is the plan, go execute.
Yeah.
That's easy-ish. Well, it's still a learning curve, but that's easier. Then you get to this size where you've got I think we've got about 40 clients on the books now, literally just growing every single week. And most of my job is obviously about, like, as any good CEO does, it's business acquisition, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And growing the contracts, nurturing the contracts, making sure we're putting ourselves, like, we're steering the ship, still doing that leadership from the top level of working in with the video and editing team about, like, hey guys, like, what can we do to make this workflow better? What can we do to make sure that we're staying ahead of the curve? Like, this is something that I saw this editor doing. Can we do that? Like, how do we, if we can't, how do we do that? Like, what gear do you need me to buy? Things like that. And then strategy sessions with the creative team of, like, keeping everyone accountable. That's a big part. But when you're moving to that team of sort of, like, 7 people, now I can't touch every client, I can from a quarterly basis, but you have to be able to let your team execute. And so the biggest thing, which genuinely, like, this has brought tears to my eyes at points when I've had the text message come through from a client saying, like, oh my gosh, like, I had a shoot with such and such today, and that was just so amazing. Like, Braden did this, or Nathan did that, and Caitlin just, like, made it so lovely to thing. That stuff is just, I can't even explain how rewarding it is. Like, you spend all this time, and you spend so much time banging your head against the wall, like, why don't they get it? Why don't they get it? And then all of a sudden they get it. The light bulb clicks, and then definitely takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of buy-in from both sides, because I'm not the easiest person to deal with. I'll be straight up that I'm not, how there's, like, 2 types of leaders. I'm the chaos one. So I'm the yang and I need a yin. But the team's real good at dealing with my chaos, and, like, everyone kind of,
how do you get them to buy into your vision? Or is it just about selecting the right people?
I was thinking of different jokes I could make there, but I'm going to avoid that. Just by being myself, mate. Like, that's straight up. Like, honestly, I can answer both questions in terms of, like, how do I get clients to come on board and how do I get team to buy in? Like, I don't know. Like, I actually don't have the answer to that, because I'm just being myself. I'm just going in there. I'm very firm in what I believe in. I talk confidently about what I believe in because I've done my research. I know the stats. I look at a lot of data. I believe in behavioral psychology. Like, I've tried to draw that connection between, I'm not just making videos and I'm not just posting stuff. I'm not delivering a service. I'm offering innovation. I'm offering growth. Like, the service you're buying from me is growth, not, hey, we'll make you some reels, or hey, we'll do this for you, which is what you would just hire a marketing person to do. But marketing, when you think about it, this is probably something that's helpful for your audience. A marketing grad, I'm going to offend a lot of people here, by the way. A marketing grad is obviously, if you were good, you're going to go and start your own business, aren't you? Because if you're that good, then that's the natural thing. You'll go and start your own marketing agency. If you aren't naturally, like, business inclined and you are still good, you're going to go work at a marketing agency, aren't you? Why would you go work at an individual business when you could go and work at an agency that's like doing the cutting edge stuff and all this stuff. So we've kind of eliminated like most of the good people instantly. They either own an agency or work at an agency. That's it. And then the only other like sort of case of like the really good people would the CMOs, which are like they're all working at Coca-Cola and like all the whatever. But so CMOs, once you've taken away CMOs, and then all the top level thinkers in the agency space, they all work as either a business owner, a CMO, or a high level person at an agency. And so your small business that's offering $80K a year salary for a high level marketing grad, that you just get what you pay for, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to any of those people, because like everyone's on their journey and like they'll be doing what they're doing, but what you get from an agency for less than the cost of a salary is so far exceeding the value that one employee can bring. It just doesn't even make sense to have an internal person anymore. What you want from an internal marketing person is someone that can coordinate, because if you're looking for a delivery person, you're just thinking along the wrong lines, because there's you need someone that can coordinate between the agency and your thing. And that's the best advice I could give you, is either if you're a small business that's kind of got someone there, don't be afraid to invest some more money into improving your marketing, but make them, their role needs to more be about coordinating between the experts and the business. You know, they have an integral and imperative role, but often when I'm dealing with these people and businesses, they're the first ones to say, you guys are the experts. That's the most common thing we hear, you guys are the experts. And so if you're trusting the experts to do their thing, then that's what that modern role of a marketing person inside of a small medium business needs to be, that coordinating factor, you know, and managing certain things that don't make sense to be outsourced, but things like social media content and management and strategy, that should not be done by an internal person. It doesn't make sense a lot of the time. And then ads, Google ads, anything like that's so specialist. It just is so difficult to be really good. Like if you manage to get someone that's really good at ads, guarantee you they'll suck at organic. My guys don't do the same thing. You know, there's content people that are like really good at making content, and as long as you give them a good brief, they could make an organic video or an ad. But they need a good brief, and they need to be managed through the edit, because the people that are good with cameras and good with editing, they don't necessarily have a business brain. They don't even know why they're doing it. They, you know, you need to make sure that message is very clear of like, this is the script and this is why the script is there, and this is what the outcome the business is hoping to achieve. And they go, oh yeah, sweet, I get it. But that comes naturally to me. That doesn't come naturally to everyone, you know? So I think that's the kind of partnership you want.
Cool. And you've had a pretty impressive growth story over the past 2 years to grow to a team of 6. What does the next 2, 3, 4 years look like?
That's a good question. What does it look like? I think we're just really getting started, because there's been a lot of learning and a lot of optimizing. How do we do this and how do we do that? And we're a very cutting edge team. So growth, 100%. I want to be an agency of like 20 people by the end of next year. I think that's the like rather ambitious growth goals, but shoot for the moon, get to the stars or whatever. But I think that for me, I want to just be able to help as many small to medium businesses as possible. And it's actually really similar, because we deal in real estate a little bit, and it's actually really similar to real estate. There are other good service providers out there other than me. Like, I'm not the only one. There are good ones. There are a lot of bad ones. There's just a lot of bad ones. And so what it comes down to then, if you've got a good service provider, is what's your cup of tea? Like, and all I can say from our side is my history has come from having parents that owned a small business and watching that revenue fluctuate in some years being good, some years being bad, watching Dad make mistakes with certain types of marketing that he's done, spending way too much in some places, not enough in other places. And one of the coolest things that ever happened for me was getting that contract, because he just came to me one day, and my dad's a hard ass, like, I ain't getting no free lunch from Dad, you know. He was actually one of the people, bless his heart, he's been my biggest supporter the whole time, but he was actually one of the people that said not to start the business because he was like really worried about how competitive the space was going to be, and was like, oh, recession, super competitive space, like, are you sure you've got what it takes? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I listened to Dad most of the time. So like, I was like, nah, I'm doing it. And then I think, so it was a year of me operating, and then he came after a year. So he needed to like see it first, you know. It was the whole like, I'm going to watch, see how this goes. And then after that he kind of was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. And then now he's one of my main clients, and he listens to me like never before, because I've proven concept to him, and he's like old school, you know, he's 62. So he's, you know, from the handshakes and business card era. And so that helping that person, you know, helping those like 50 to 60 year old plus business owners that are like really struggling in that whole like transition of things, but they're like real solid, like good Kiwi business owners that like deserve to, you know, get their whole journey. And I just think, especially the ones that are in their 50s right now, that's probably a bit scary, because that's not soon enough where you have your exit plan sussed, and you need to think about this kind of stuff. And genuinely helping people makes my whole life so cool. And then being able to pay myself at the end of it, that's awesome. What more can you ask for, you know?
Finally, a great piece of content that you've seen online lately, business piece of content, not one of your own clients. Happy for you to give a shout out to whoever it is. But what's a great piece of content that you've seen on social media? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. There is a couple that are coming to mind. Righto, I'm gonna do the flip side of this. So I think I am gonna give a shout out unsolicitedly, because I don't know this for sure, but I am like 99% confident. Have you seen the Toyota campaign? This is a Toyota ad.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And that is actually a TVC designed campaign, but like the way that they, you know, put it on social. And I think the bigger agencies and the creative campaigns, that what they're doing now is so cool. Like we used to have this whole thing, and that alludes to what I was saying before about statics, where the vision board for a campaign would all be statics. But then now what creative agencies are doing is they're basing their whole campaign off a video, like visuals and stuff like that. And so the campaign's being thought about from a video first perspective, and that is, if you think about that campaign, that would be a very difficult campaign to tell that story without the video side of it. And the way that emotionally like grabs you and goes like, that's so cool. Like Toyota, such an iconic brand in New Zealand for such a long time, and the way that they can just like pull on your heartstrings, and like just you feel something when you actually feel something when you watch a video. I think it's like the most powerful thing ever. And shout outs to Sachi and Sachi for that one, because I think they did an excellent job of that.
Awesome. Josh, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck with the future.
Thank you, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.